Rovers, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zeno, and I wanted to talk about Shorekeeper just before she reruns. Now, this video will go live like barely before her banner goes live. It's her second rerun. It's going to be with Carlotta and Augusta. Now, I originally put out a video like many months ago, just before anniversary on her very first rerun banner, before the anniversary and the Zani banners and all the onslaught of banners that came out of. I put that video as Shorekeeper is essentially a quote-unquote must-pull character. She's the only character in the game that I would consider on the level of a must-pull style of character. Now, obviously, everyone's opinion differs, but for the most part, I think universally the community agrees that Shorekeeper is that one character that you probably really should summon for. So the question now becomes, we are now at the end of August. It is a lot further into the year, a lot further into the 2.x patches. We're starting to get towards the end of the story, at least for this patch, and a lot more characters have now been released. Is Shorekeeper still worth summoning for? Is she still a quote-unquote must-pull? And I just wanted to give just a very casual chat video. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to like script this and edit this properly. So it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I've got work in 8 hours, so bear with me. But I did have this conversation about, a week or whatever ago when I was live on YouTube streaming, when the banner got announced that Shorekeeper was rerunning, and I was like, oh my god, Shorekeeper is rerunning? I'm like, of course she's rerunning, because she's going to be sandwiched in between Augusta and, two fairly hyped characters. And so I want to just kind of go over Shorekeeper a little bit, and I want to go over more so her teams and just some of the changes and how I think her value as pretty much the quote-unquote best support in the game has for more or less diminished a little bit. I still think she's the closest thing the game has to a must-pull character. I just think the buffs that she gives, the healing, the buffs, the crits, the attack, just the comfort, the survivability, she just does so much, and she's so easy to play. And her first and second sequence are pretty damn good as well. The first one for players that need longer rotations and a bigger field, and the second one gives an even bigger buff for attack-based characters. But I want to take a look at all the different characters that have essentially come out since, and then start talking about if she's actually still worth pulling, because now as the game has progressed further into the year, we've got a few more characters that can now heal. There's a couple of other characters that can heal themselves. And as we're going forward, mono teams seem to be a pretty big focus for WuWa, or at least teams that don't necessarily need Shorekeeper as the healer and that can get away with others. Now, when I made that video, it was just before Zani came out, right? And we just had Brant and we just had Cantarell, and both of those units can heal. But at the time, we did not have a full Havoc team for someone like Cantarella, and we did not have a full fusion team for someone like Brant. That came later when we got Frolova, and then we got Lupa. And this is just for example, just for these two teams, right? And so what happens now is a fusion team doesn't need Shorekeeper if you get the 3 premium fusion units, or you just have 3 fusion overall. Maybe use Chixia or Encore, but otherwise Lupa, Brant, Chun-Li, and again, you can use like other, characters if you have them. They now can function as a mono team, which means that frees up Shorekeeper to use somewhere else or not at all. The Havoc team has got a couple of different variations, because you've got the Cammy version, and then you've got the Frolova version. You can probably even kind of make them actually work together, because Cammy's more of an on-fielder and Frolova can be like, a sub-DPS in the background because she does lots of damage off field. But otherwise, basically, Roshia, Cantarella as a healer, and then Frolova. So now the Havoc team is locked down with a couple of different options there, but the healer being Cantarella. There's also Dungeon. People can use Dungeon. Just like in it as a different character for like Roshia, Kamala, whatever, right? Havoc, Rover, for example, too. But that's like another team that's like a mono team that you don't necessarily need Shorekeeper for a buff setting. Some of the other teams like Heya, obviously very popular character, my favorite character in the game. She's her premium best in slot team, which at the moment is still Aero Rover, which I do think will be eventually replaced, because they kind of have to have a replacement for Aero Rover eventually, just because Rover will eventually get another like element. So there'll need to be another option to use in that team. And it's so it's Aero Rover and Chikona and Cardathea. And Cardathea can kind of heal herself back a little bit on a liberation, but Aero Rover is kind of like the healer in the team as well. So that's now 3 elements locked down that you don't necessarily need Shorekeeper if you have all the premium options or the alternative options. Like, there's some other teams that still don't have many other options. Zani teams. Zani still basically needs Phoebe. There's no getting around that. You can use Spectro Rover, but if your Rover is tied up in Havoc for maybe the Havoc team, or if your Rover is tied up in Aero for the Cardathea Aero Erosion team, you're still without a character to make Phoebe shine by herself, or for the most part, you still need another buffer as well. So Shorekeeper kind of slots in with Phoebe and Zani, and just buffs them to hell and back. It's crazy. It's amazing. Alternatively, you can use someone like Verena. I actually find myself using Verena more than Shorekeeper, just because I need Shorekeeper. It's definitely a skill issue, but I need Shorekeeper's S1 to make it better. But so Spectro kind of still needs Shorekeeper, right? Have a look at some other teams. Carlotta, she's one of my favorite characters, right? I absolutely love Carlotta, and she's got a swimsuit, and it's amazing, right? But Carlotta, and then there's Jeji. Glacio is still kind of missing a third character, like a premium slot third character to make a mono Glacio, and they don't have a healer. Like Carlotta and Jeji don't heal. So you're stuck with using Verena, you're stuck with using Shorekeeper, which is preferred, because Carlotta's the biggest damage dealer, and you want her liberation to crit, because if you don't, you miss out on so much damage, it's ridiculous. Like, that is the biggest part of the whole team's damage, is Carlotta's liberation, especially the final couple of shots. So you really, really want Shorekeeper. There is no pretty much alternative. I know there's like the 4-star, you can use Baiji. She can, but like, she can kind of be a healer too, but she is a 4-star. She's not as strong, her buffs aren't as strong, and not many people like building up the 4-stars unless they're a favorite 4-star. So like the Glacier team is still missing a premium limited 5-star or whatever it is, right? Resonator, right? So Shorekeeper is still the best for that. There's characters like Zhang Liao. No, I don't have him. I really wish I had him, and I was playing the game when he was around. I'm pissed I don't have him because he's free and he's a fairly really strong character. But like Zhang Liao, and I'm pretty sure you run him with Yinlin. And then who else do you run? You probably want to run Shorekeeper as well. Jian, I think Jian and Mortifi, and I'm pretty sure you still want to run Shorekeeper for that team. Could be wrong, of course. But the options are starting to become more varied, that there is other healers for the mono teams, because this year they've really focused on the mono. And so Shorekeeper's future is now more, not divisive, but like there's a chance that for the people that don't have Shorekeeper, maybe you've been picking up some of these other teams this year, like the Mono Fusion, the Mono Havoc, the Mono Aero, or maybe you have Mono Spectro, but you can use Verena instead, and it's perfectly fine. I still do, for Zani, Phoebe, Verena. There's a lot of teams now that don't necessarily need Shorekeeper anymore, and I think that's important. And then going forward, we've got characters like Augusta is about to release, and then Yuno is going to be her technical best in slot, and Yuno can heal. So it's just like, okay, you don't necessarily, well, probably don't need you probably still want Shorekeeper for now. I'm pretty sure you still want Shorekeeper just because of the crit buffs, because Augusta is like more of like a hyper carry, I think. So, but like, you don't necessarily need like the healer style character of Shorekeeper. You can probably use Yuno and then maybe someone else to help buff Augusta, because I think she's heavy attack damage, so I think you can maybe use Mortifi. I don't know if that will work really well. Gonna wait to see if the guides, if that's even an option, to be honest. But so even that team, there's a chance there that maybe you could run, maybe you could run something else instead. So like, and then later down the line, we know that Chisa is coming, we know that Gelbrenna is coming, and we know that the other male character, who I have totally forgotten his name, the male character looks like a wandering swordsman, fishing guy. I'm just going to call him Qui-Gon Jinn. That's not his name. I don't remember his name. But, and whatever so there's at least 3 more characters that they've teased off in the past. And I guarantee you, if one of them doesn't heal, they're going to slot into probably a mono team somewhere. So Shorekeeper is diminishing. Her future is diminishing. I think that Kuro Games shot themselves in the foot so badly when it came to Shorekeeper, because she does so much of everything so well that they essentially can't make another one. Because the last thing that Kuro would ever want, revenue and money-wise for the company, is to make a second Shorekeeper. Because then Shorekeeper will just be like, well, if I can use Shorekeeper on this team. Oh, look, there's another Shorekeeper. I'll just use Shorekeeper. And then you never need to pull supports basically ever again. As it is, some people pull Shorekeeper and they don't pull any of the other characters. Now, I myself, for example, when talking about the Havoc and the Fusion teams, going back to that, I don't have Brant. So I have to use Verena / Shorekeeper, right, with my Lupa Chun-Li. For over Cantarella, I don't have Roshia, or I don't have any other Havoc build. So I pretty much still want to use Shorekeeper, because that way it gives a ton of crit buffs and makes Cantarella and especially Frollover a lot stronger. So I still have a lot of uses for it. My Cardathea is heavily invested. She's S5, right? I got super lucky and she's my favorite character. So she doesn't really need Arrow Rover anymore, so I actually use Shorekeeper. So my Carlotta and Jeji, I still use Shorekeeper. You know, my Lupa Chun-Li, Shorekeeper. Frollover Cantarella, Shorekeeper. Phoebe Zani, Shorekeeper. So for someone like me, if I didn't have Shorekeeper right now, I would be putting Augusta or Yuno to the side and picking up Shorekeeper. So because for an account like mine, like I just listed off some of the characters that I have like 2/3 of, you know, or 75%, whatever, of every like mono team, or the ones that would probably, you can do without, like a Brant or a, I'm rambling. You get the point though, right? Like, I think her future is still very bright. I think if you want Shorekeeper, you should still really go for her. I think this might be one of the last chances to get Shorekeeper in 2025. We're now at the end of August. You know, it's the 8th month of the year. We're heading into the 9th month of September. I think the only way that Shorekeeper will rerun again this year is if there's some sort of New Year's event or something like that. Kind of like what they did with Anniversary, where it's like, here's Christmas, New Year's, maybe here's a bunch of rerun banners. Merry Christmas, give us money. Like, that's the only... I think if you want Shorekeeper and you have the pulls, and you need her for your account, like I would still need her for my account, like today if I didn't have her, get her, because Yuno and Augusta this coming patch, they will rerun sooner before Shorekeeper, because now Shorekeeper's run twice this year, and once on her debut last year, so I do not expect her to rerun again. And I'm looking now, like the 17th of the 4th, so it's been 4 months since I've got Shorekeeper. It's actually been a while. So we're now getting into the 9th month. So if you want I'm rambling. Sorry, this video's all over the place, but hopefully you kind of got my point. I think she's amazing. I think she's still got a very good future. There's so many characters and teams in this game that still scale off attack, off crit rate, crit damage. There's a few that are becoming a little bit more niche here or there, but for the most part, you still want all these buffs, right? Even someone like Cardathea. She scales off like HP and stuff. You still want the crit buffs. You might not get the attack buffs, but the crit buffs and the extra healing definitely help. So yeah, anyway, that's my thoughts on Shorekeeper. Sorry, it's a rambly all over the place video. It's super late. I haven't got much time, but I thought I'd just get my thoughts out. I still think she's quote unquote a must pull if you need her, but you gotta take a look at your account. Right? Like, if for the Havoc teams, the Fusion teams, the Spectro teams, the Aero teams, are you missing a third slot? Would you consider getting that third slot when it reruns in the future? Or is Shorekeeper just going to help not one team, maybe 2 teams, maybe 3 teams? Just consider it, because it's now or never. If you don't get it now, don't think you get it until 2026, and that makes me feel sick saying 2026. That's not okay. Why are we so close to 2026? Anyway, I love Shorekeeper. I think she's amazing. She's stupid beautiful, and she's super versatile. And I still think she's worth it, and I still would consider her a must pull. But just take a look at your account, see what you're missing, see what you want to get in the future, what reruns to fill that spot. And yeah, that's about it. Sorry, the video's all over the place. Hope you guys enjoyed me rambling about Shorekeeper nonetheless. But yeah, that's about it. And yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think she has a future or not? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're still summoning for Shorekeeper, let me know. I know there's still people in the community that don't have Shorekeeper and they've never actually needed her because they just don't really like her. That's perfectly fine too. You don't need her, but she makes your life so much more comfortable. Anyway, I'm rambling, blah, 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 blah. I'll go now. Thank you so much for watching and for listening to me ramble. And as always, my name is Zeno and you guys take care now. How did I fucking ramble for 15 minutes? That's ridiculous. Bruh.